Welcome to another episode of the Overcoming Diversity podcast. I'm your host, Michael Allison. Today's guest is Drocella Mugorewera. She's here as the Diversity Trust Builder. She's also an inspirational keynote speaker, a master storyteller, and a woman of faith. Hey, Drocella, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I'm so happy to sit down with you and have this conversation because you have such a unique story that I think is going to be very inspirational to our listeners in regards to understanding you of a woman of faith and some of the things that you had to go through in your life to actually get to where you're at now today. So I'm looking so forward to this conversation.
Me too.
I I would like to dive into. Can you tell us what is it to be the diversity trust builder? Because in this day and this time that we're dealing with quite a few interesting topics and things, can you tell us what that is that you do?
Yes, Diversity Trust Builder came from my meeting with my mentors when I was thinking about what to do. After being an executive director for Bridge Services, a refugee settlement that agency that welcomed me in 2009 as a refugee, I had a big call to work with African Americans, with what the police departments, law enforcement, and I did ask God. I don't know what it means, but I would just be obedient and follow your guidance. And then when I talked about this with my branding mentor, Sami Garrity, she said, I think the being the diversity trust builder because you want to build the bridges between different kind of populations, the authorities and the people they are entitled to promote and protect. That was where the diversity trust builder title came from. And I just wanted not to only serve refugees, but this global call of building the diversity in action global movement where every talent, every skill, every perspective and is valued. This is where I feel like I want to be a citizen of the world contributing to that cause. I do believe that if everyone treats each other the way they want to be treated, that's the simple definition of diversity for me. So each one of us is unique. They are richness, they have richness in them, they have genius in them, they have greatness in them. So no talent, no skill, no perspective, no uniqueness should be left behind. This is about, being in our community, being in schools, being in corporate. So this is where the term and the name, the Diversity Trust Builder, came from.
So I can't help but I could hear the accent and then I could hear the passion in regards to building a community. And it sounds kind of like in a holistic viewpoint to it as well. I would like, if you can, share with us your remarkable journey, your remarkable story, and then tell us your experience as a refugee and some of the challenges that you face yourself when it comes to arriving to the United States of America.
That's a great question, and thank you. Regarding accent, we all have accents, and my accent came from somebody who speak 5 languages. I am originally from Africa, Rwanda, and I am a refugee since 2009. I came to America. I fled my country in 2008 because of oppression and persecution based on my political opinions. And then I didn't see my children for 2 years, and I didn't talk to them for a year. Thankfully, through U.S. refugee program, America facilitated the family reunification. Imagine as a parent being separated from your children from 2 years almost, and my youngest daughter was 12 years old.
Wow.
So that moment, it was so stressful, painful, and I was confused, disoriented. But being a woman of faith, the only choice I had is to surrender them to God. One prayer I did one time was, God, I didn't choose to separate from my husband and my family and
Hmm.
my children, but they are yours before they are mine. I
Hmm.
just surrender them to you. alleviate all obstacles and barriers so we can be reunited again. So that was when I started the refugee journey. I just spent 9 months hiding, only talking to God. My daily routine was prayer, shower, and eating. Prayer, shower, and eating. This is what I was doing during those 9 months. And I didn't have, besides my Bible, I didn't have any other things. The Bible was just my asset that time. And then thankfully, when I heard that I'm coming to US, I just prayed, God, I need good friends and good neighbors. and I did and I did get them, because if there was not from the welcoming community, I wouldn't be where I am. So when I arrived at the airport, there were a case manager and the people from Northside Christian Church who welcomed me. My bed was made, there was food in the fridge, and that gave me hope. But my first ask, because I did spend a lot of time without going to church, I said, can you connect me to the Catholic church close to me? And then the following day, I went to church, and I met the priest. I did my confession and my communion. It was like a rebirth. So then I was connected to a case manager. They did tell me the services they will provide. Of course, as a former member of parliament and government, I was expecting to have something like a job that is very meaningful. And surprisingly, my first job was $6.55 an hour at Goodwill Industries. So I say, God, thank you. I think this is where you start, but this is not where I stay. One of my
Mm.
quotes is I say, the problem is not starting from the bottom, the problem is staying at the bottom. So from $6.55 an hour, because also this is something I'm fighting to change, per the government guidelines, when they offer a job, you have to take that one. So it means if it's an entry level job, you take it and then later on they can find something. But when I became a director, I did use some such strategies to change that. And then from $6.55 an hour, I did $8 an hour, $12 an hour. In 2015, when they were looking for an executive director for the agency that welcomed me, I say, I have managerial skills. I have a story to tell as a refugee, understand the struggle here on the ground and abroad. So I did apply and I did get the position. The previous position as a multicultural coordinator at the Cherokee Health Systems, I had insurance, I had 401k. But because many people were asking, who are those refugees? What do they do? What are, those questions that were making me sick. And I said, that agency doesn't have health insurance, they don't have 401k, but I'm going to share my story and the stories of refugees so people can understand where we come from and what the social, cultural, and economic values we are bringing at the table. I served there for 6.5 years. And then in 2022, in June, this is where I felt a call to go global. So I say I cannot just serve a limited population. I wanted to serve a bigger population at the global level. This is how I became a consultant and a speaker. And then through the networking, I think faith is my first superpower. And then networking and building relationship is my second superpower. Through those networking, I became an author. These two books, for this one, The Leaders with the Heart, I was connected with somebody who is in Canada through somebody from Australia. And this one also, the co-author and the lead is Bernice Williams. She's in Canada. And I was connected to her through online virtual meetings. So this is the journey. And then I read many books. Back in Africa, I didn't have a chance to have access to books. And one of the projects I like here in America is free libraries. I like the way you can read and then it's just amazing. So reading books, building networks and connections, and through practicing my faith, really helped me to endure that the trauma and the pain of a refugee, and this is something that can enlighten other people in the same conditions.
So let me ask you this, because your story is truly, truly amazing to come from where you're coming from, be separated from your family, and then kind of have to work from ground up to rebuild yourself is truly, truly a testament to your faith. I want to ask you, how has faith played a role in helping you navigate through difficult circumstances, uncertain times as a refugee? Because as tough as it sounded, right, there could have been times where you wanted to give up. There could have been times where you wanted to quit. There could have been times where you doubted yourself and things like that, where that could be mentally grueling on a person. So, can you talk a little bit about the power of faith for yourself?
Yes, those time of temptation of giving up, they did arrive, but I did tell myself uh, it didn't have I didn't have an option. I had to adapt or perish, and this is why I just said I'm building from the ground up, from scratch, no family, no community members. I just wanted to be like a friend. I wanted to expand my network, and everybody I met, I wanted to introduce and to learn from them. And also the prayer always, I had to do the prayers, and I did help ask people who I started to know to pray for my family reunification, because I do believe in the power in the community, and I could not carry that yoke and burden by myself. And cries, sometimes I was crying, but I also say that if God told us to ask and it will be given, we knock and the doors will be open. That uh, belief always and faith did. And when I was about to be down, and then in my silence, I just heard something from the Bible, a quote that would say, Drocella, keep moving, keep moving. And then God was guiding also to good friends and like people who were teach me how to do business in America. I remember meeting my friend Sue Carney, who introduced me to the networking marketing industry. I didn't have a lot of money that time, but I learned. And then when I went there, a lot of personal development. And I started to build the community. I started to travel and then expand my network. So I would say that faith, prayer uh, increased my capacity of endurance and resilience. So, but without those welcoming members, community members, I would not be where I am, and I would always be grateful.
What was it like when you reconnected back with your family?
First of all, my husband came and he applied for asylum. The night he came, I couldn't drive to go to welcome him. I told somebody, I heard that he may be coming. Don't tell anybody. But I couldn't drive. I said, friend, can you drive? And then he missed his first flight, and then we were just at the airport waiting on him. And then I remember the night and the day, I had 2 days off. We just, at the first time, we didn't have any words. We were kind of speechless. And he didn't expect me to be in an apartment. So he had a vision. He didn't know the situation was where I was. And then 2 days after, I said, hey, this is America. I just have 2 days. I have to go to work. And then be having some means to live on, because what people do not understand, the refugee settlement is a self-sufficient program. They help you to help yourself to be on your feet and take care of your finances. And then when my children came, oh goodness, the director assembled like young people of their age. I had like 13 years old. I had 15, 17, and 18. So, and then they were going to the airport, and then they were singing. And I did ask a friend from church who normally goes to bed at 8 o'clock. And her and her son, they drove the church bus to go to welcome my children at midnight. And then I remember my son lifting me up and just return and hugging me. And then I was looking at all of them like this, and I said, "Is it real?" So it was just joy. Um, it was unbelievable.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm.
I want to ask you this as someone that had experience in an executive role, and then to be put back in a role that's lower than an executive role, and then to have to work yourself back up. What was that like when you had to go through that phase or that transition to knowing that you were probably at this stature, and now I'm taken back down to this stature, and now I have to work myself back up? And I ask you that as in there could be listeners that's listening to the podcast that may have been promoted, demoted, and those types of things, and you had to deal with that and go through that. What was that process like for you, and what advice could you share with someone when you find yourself in like similar tough situations similar to kind of like yours?
It was shocking, but also motivating
Hmm.
because I said, I cannot stay here. At least I have something I can start from. And I did learn some skills, tagging clothes, working on the registry, all those things that they were new, but I did learn something. And I was teaching also people who were there about managerial skills, how we can take care of the clients. And then I would say that no matter, even if you are down there, if you are not in a place where you want to be, don't give up because you have to start from somewhere, anywhere. And then I talked to myself that it could be worse. I could not have employment. I could be a homeless, but all this didn't happen. But it gave me the foundations of building up. I had the basic, I had a shelter, I had an employment, I had the food. So I had something to build up. And then, of course, I had to show what I'm capable to. So whenever in any position, I remember when I was a caregiver for people with disability, that was the best rewarding job I can tell. Where I was working $8 an hour, because I developed those relationships. So even now, when I left, I do. Stay in contact with them. We celebrate birthdays, and one had she was autistic, and I managed to know how to calm her by singing. Even now, when I go there and I sing, she knows that Mama is coming. She gave the name the Mama. She didn't call me Drocella. She did call Mama because I did treat her very well. And then for the other one who was in the wheelchair, I had to spend time to prepare her that I'm leaving the work, but I'm not leaving her spiritually. I will be connected with her. And also, we will go for lunches. I became like a family member for them. So, in any capacity and in any job you are in, even if it's lower than what you have, you can always make a difference. You can always find fulfillment. And that motivated me to keep going and making a difference in people's lives. And then, now I have my time, and money also is coming. So it means, and sometimes, life is like waves, ups and down. It's same with the position. People have things, and they lose things. And one of other quotes I have is like, you can lose your material position and possessions, but you never lose yourself. So what is in me, the greatness and the genius in me, was still dormant in me. So now I can use it and then fly high.
A lot of people may have gone through some bad experiences in their lives, and sometimes they harbor that pain on the inside and they can't let it go. And for yourself, you went through that traumatic experience of separating from your family, what was going on back home. And some people can hold resentment and things like that. I wanted to ask you, did you hold any resentments? Did you release any of that resentment? And if so, what were some of the things and processes that you went through to get over some of that hurdle? And I ask you that in regards to like advice that you could share with our listeners if they're harboring on any resentment, harboring on any pain, harboring on some things that are holding them back in life. What were some of the things and steps that you did that you could share with our audience?
That is a good question. And what I want to tell you is that me, I had to forgive. I had to forgive people who made me free because I happened to separate people from the behaviors. And that I think that sometimes separating people from the devil or the bad evil that are working to make them acting in a way, this is the level where I was. I think if I didn't forgive them, my father say, if you don't forgive, you will never be forgiven. So I had
Mm,
to release all that. And then, that now I have a global reach. We have to know through the pen what you can get from there. So the pen can lead us to a bigger purpose. And I think this is what it is. And as a parent also, I had a dream to see my children graduating from good schools and colleges. I didn't know how to happen. Even I had some, as a human being, I said, God, will it happen? Will we be reunited? And then when my children were processing in another country, they would say, Mommy, which school will we go to? I said, pray for family reunification first. America has good school ever. So my dream through pain with the children, it did also reach to where I wanted to be. So I want to say, no matter where you were here, and no matter the wounds you have, they can heal. Try to find a way to heal from your trauma, because trauma can be a barrier to development and personal and professional growth. And I would just say I'm now a happy grandma. My son, who was 15 years old, now he made me a grandma, and I'm so thankful. And my two nieces have other babies, so it means that in every painful or situation, try to find joy all the time. And for the Christian, we are always asked, be happy no matter the situation you are in. So and when I was on my refugee journey, people would say, that lady, she has trouble, but she's happy, she's joyful. What is happening? So because I didn't have any other choice, and I want to, in order to help others, I wanted to develop strong muscles to welcome my children, to provide for my family, but also to give forward to the community that welcomed me. So I would say, if you are a listener to this podcast and you are going through challenges, those challenges came from you. So, and you are stronger than you think you are. You will overcome that no matter what.
absolutely. So you mentioned about adding value to people. Can you talk a little bit about the experiences that you've been through and now taking all of those challenges that you've been through and now employing those into your consulting business, your speaking business? What is it that you're doing now in regards to adding value to people based off your experiences, your knowledge, and things like that in regards to being a change maker now?
So I would give first example. When I was hired as a director, the agency was built since 1982. But the way I believe in different skills and talents, as I said before, I happened to create the first development and communication position. While the organization had financial difficulties when I was hired, I left them with 100,000 first reserve fund ever. So that is something they can build in, and I made a difference, and I'm proud of that.
Mm,
Currently, also in this book, The Leaders with a Heart, my chapter is about, I'm no longer a victim, I'm a
mm,
creator. So when you survive the genocide period and then you become a refugee, and after you have to find something good you can give to other people. So what I created now as diversity leadership consultant, I created the diversity in action framework that have 5 pillars and 5 sub-pillars, and I want to help corporations to use them to eliminate employee turnover. They say that employee retention will be a big concern for the next 5 years. You don't have to wait there. If you are listening and you know people who need to deal with employee turnover, I can help them to show the way they can deal with that. They can turn the employees into loyal ambassadors of their company. Those are two examples I can give. And also, one thing I'm super excited about is the legacy project about advocating for language diversity. In America, you see many people speak one language, and other who learn at least a second language never master it. I want to teach our children, I want to teach employees how they can leverage language diversity for profit and success. So this is a legacy project I want to really move forward and do advocacy and find sponsors for this. And I'm looking for partners to work on it, because our children deserve more. Like I remember Jim Rohn saying that his parents were speaking German and French, and none of them taught him another language. And I hear many people say, I wish my parents would have taught me another language. I do not want to hear that. I want people to give themselves and their children a chance to learn another language. And it's easy. You find a friend, you can go to summer classes. Now it's summertime. People can send their children to learn another language, like I did for my children. They were learning in French, but I did find a school, English school, where they can go and learn English. So for them to adapt in America was not a problem. But I was proactive and invest in language acquisition so my children can adapt in other countries. And I remember my daughter, when she was working in Amazon, she did help people speaking Swahili and French, trying to adapt in the workplace using her French and Swahili. So using another language is another opportunity of growth and success. So that is my legacy project to give forward as well.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Being someone that's in the diversity space now, can you share with some of our listeners or some of our business owners what are some best practices that they could utilize in regards to like incorporating into the workspace to have a good, healthy workspace that does not create problems, does not create confusion, that does not create the turnover, does not create turmoils and things like that?
I think the first thing to do is having a written diversity and inclusion commitment, because you, as a business owners, they teach us to speak the language our clients speak. Employees have to learn how to speak the languages the employers have to learn how to speak the languages employees speak. Another thing is communicating with your employees, your existing employees. What are they, why do they care about your business? So you can know their motives, their intention, and then you can give them what they want. You remember, maybe you read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like, give them what they want. That is so simple. And another thing I would say is that create that reward system, because sometimes people think that only same people are rewarded. And one best practice I learned from Joy Baldridge, the author of The Joy in Business, is like having "because of you" award, because everybody is contributing at different levels. Even they are salespeople, they are housekeeping, they are accountant. So everybody contributes. So when you value everyone and there is a way of recognizing them, that is and celebration. Do you have a calendar? If they can have a calendar of celebrating different cultures, different values, that also can help them to retain employee they want, and then to attract other employees they want. But promoting multicultural environment, hiring people from different background, always will add value. And this is where, if you don't have that infrastructure in place, you can even have a language line for people who are coming, do not speak other languages, how do you promote them? And you can incentivize, for example, employee who want to learn another language through the capacity building, staff and board development budget. You can always increase that outreach and openness to other culture. And these are the things I can suggest. But through the diversity in action system, as I said, I created, I help even if you are an executive who is new, who is willing to embed diversity in your company, but you don't know where to start. I will help you to navigate the system. And as you know, it takes 21 days to change a habit. So it does take at least 2 years to change culture. So I will not leave you alone. I will take you under the arm, and then we'll navigate together where you want to be. Yeah.
I want to follow up on that because I love your answer too as well. I think that was phenomenal. And I say that because being someone that served in the military, then also worked in corporate, worked in the government, I kind of see where the benefit of all some of the things that you just mentioned was truly, truly valuable. So thank you for sharing that. I want to turn a little bit to the entrepreneur side of things. So for the listener that's listening and they want to step into the entrepreneur space, you made a bold move, leaving the job that you were doing, and you said, I want to make a greater and bigger impact to be global and start helping the world on many different levels with what you're doing. Can you talk about what that transition was like for you as a business leader, and what were some of the things that you put in place to make sure that transition went the way you planned it, wanted it to go, to turn out to where you're at now today?
Great question. And thank you for your service and for creating this podcast, a platform where people can learn and grow. Oh, the business entrepreneurship journey is kind of, magic.
I'm saying that as in, like, you're a success story here and where you come from, an immigrant, refugee, you name it. And to do what you're doing now is like a big deal. So that's why I'm asking you that question.
Yes, it's a big deal. And how I navigated. No, I did speak many times for free. And then I was asking myself, if I tell my story, people get inspired and they give to the nonprofit. Why can I use my story and my experience to be paid and make a bigger impact? So this is where I went to learn with Storytelling Academy with Andy Henriquez. I did pay to be a storyteller, master storyteller. So I learned how to tell a story in a professional way. And then the freebies were attracting me here and there and there. And I sat down and I said, I cannot continue this way. They were distracting me. And then I had to frame my message and who is my message for, my vision, my mission, and how will I get there. And then develop the funnels. I did learn about the word funnel in 2022. I didn't know about that word, But one of the challenges I thought about, I'm creating the website. And people will say, no, the website is good, but maybe a landing page, if you want to do business, is what is needed. So for the listeners, sometimes you don't have too much money to do that. But I would say that starting from a landing page, but your mission, vision, and then landing page is something. And then also network with the right people in the right groups, because sometimes you can be like a butterfly, go here and there. But when you identify your ideal clients, stick to it, because sometimes you want to be savers of the world. But when I did say, hey, I want to help corporate decision makers committing to championing diversity and inclusion in their company. So now I have my lane and I have to stay in your lane. So this is what advice I would say. And I say, go for it. And then people do not have to think about competition, because some people are here are afraid of competition. who has a story, unique story? Who, this is my story, nobody can tell it with me. And my approach and my creativity is different from other people, because there are people who started to discourage me that DI industry is full. It will never be full. It will never be. Because if you can create and avoid competition and promote collaboration. So now I'm in a challenge of building referrals. So this is how people work together. And I do believe that when you work together, you make a better impact. Now, if I work with people who are in executive coaching and I bring diversity and somebody will bring another topic, we can package a good thing for a corporation, and then they can have more profit at once. So I hope that I did respond to your question. Do not be afraid. You will find resources, and they are free, and the other resources. And one of my calls also is, if you don't invest, you don't harvest. Sometimes people think they do not, you have to invest in yourself, and you have to invest in your professional growth and into the business too. So I can stop here.
When working with business leaders in your industry, what are some of the qualities that you find that makes up a good business leader?
Good listener. You have to be a good, very good listener. Sometimes we tend to talk and talk, but I think active listening is the best quality. You have also to know how to ask powerful questions. Powerful people ask powerful questions. And then making those relationships and the follow-up. They say the 14 is in the follow-up. Sometimes you, and be open-minded, because the more people you know, the more people you network with, you don't know where your next client will come from. So building those relationships and be open to receive, because sometimes also you give and you forget to be open to receive, and that is and working for referrals and collaboration.
Absolutely. So, Drocella, as we get ready to wrap up here, what are some goals that you have going for your company for the future, and how do you continue to make a positive impact?
So one goal I have, as I build a global movement, I cannot do it by myself. I'm looking for ambassadors of diversity in action and ambassadors of linguistic diversity. And I started to work with young people. I did work recently with a group in Boston after school program, peer to peer. We did do talk about what are the challenges in learning the language. I remember one young guy say that he wanted to learn Japanese. I said, if you don't find somebody who can help you to learn Japanese, just tell me, and I will help you to get there. So yeah, I want, as I said, the Legacy Linguistic Equity and Diversity Project is a legacy project. I will want to see it explode. I want to change those minds who think in one language and want to work in one language, while they are traveling the world, while they are welcoming many people in the community. I want to see this the mosaic in our community guiding what people are thinking and how they are doing business. Because now, as you know, there are many people also using virtual assistants from other countries. I just want that to be an insight or light for how the business can do, but not using them to only learn some words of the language in their culture so you can communicate. And now I do also invite people in the virtual world. You can even pack your computer, go in China, go in France, go in Spain, and work there and learn the language. And you come back and you just open up a new markets. Yeah. Mm.
From your story, what are some key takeaways and lessons that you could leave with our audience?
I would say the circumstances we are going through are part of the life cycle.
Mhm.
They are there to strengthen us. They are not there to kill us. We have to learn from them and build on them, and share our stories of resilience. because your story, even if you don't feel like you are comfortable to share your story, you have a golden mine you are sitting on in your bedroom, in your living room, that will help you to bridge to go to the next level where you want to be. And I would say network, 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 network. Because the more people you know, your network is your net worth, they say. The more people you know, the more business you can make, the more success you can make. So, and I just say, yeah, believe in yourself and trust in
Mm,
yourself, and other things will follow.
absolutely.
Mm.
Just before we get ready to wrap up, can you tell our audience where can they find you? Where can they reach you? How could they work with you? Give us all of your information, all of the data, how we could contact you.
So to get in touch with me, you can go to Drocella360.com and you will find my email, my website. This is the one-stop center, Drocella360.com. And then you will find me. And I would like to, I'm a connector. I like to build the relationship. If you feel like my story, what I say, touch your heart, reach out, and we'll move from there.
Absolutely. Well, Drocella, it's been a pleasure to have you on and come on and share your story. I know our listeners are going to absolutely love it because you showed the determination, the grit, and the power of faith to coming from where you're from and to now be successful and now advocating and championing with your movement. I think is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much for being a guest.
I appreciate you and thank you for this platform.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, God bless.
Ain't it all? Couple dollars in my pocket, no income and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.